Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the most fundamentally broken and addictive game I think I've ever played in my entire life. It is so broken and so all-consuming, it will leave people just burning money to get the newest cards. I think me and Mason have both had the same experience of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh yeah.
And it's just, I think it lately is getting worse. So in this video, we're just going to talk about our relationship with Yu-Gi-Oh! And just some of our experiences that have led us to kind of make a video about it, because I think it needs to be done now, you know?
Oh yeah, and for the future we're gonna do more just like sit down chat type content. We're not gonna just restrict ourselves to review movies, because that takes time and effort, and sometimes you just want to have a nice chat and just, you know, have some
chill.
Some nice easy content, man, you know. So this is it.
I think every like guy played Yu-Gi-Oh! At least once when they were a kid. It was Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon at my school.
Yeah,
and that's kind of where it started.
In my primary school, Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon cards actually got banned because people were like, people just bringing them in and like fighting over them and like trying to trade,
right?
And
like some kind of like black market warfare kind of bullshit.
Like it's almost like we're all bringing in drugs and just fucking dealing them out. It's like, no, mate, fucking get that Blue Eyes card in your school bag now.
The ironic thing being that almost nobody knew actually how to play it.
Oh no, it's
nobody knew the rules.
Yeah, it's like,
it was completely unregulated.
I'll summon this Blue Eyes. No, you won't. It's not how it works, mate. I just thought, when I was younger, I thought the more stars equals the better. And it's just not the case, is it?
So when I was a kid, I started like getting into the grind of it a bit more, and every week I'd get £7 pocket money.
Ooh,
and that's
nice.
I know, right? Big spender. But that £7 would always go on a starter deck set from a card shop that I live near. And I'd buy like all of them. Like I'd buy the Kaiba deck, I'd buy the Yugi deck, and honestly, if you told me how to play the game, it would be I'd draw a card and I'd place it down. And that would be how I'd play the game.
And then just play it, and then my what's that? A card effect? Ignore it, mate. Look how many stars my cards got.
Exactly. Stars equaled power when you were a kid, and that's how you played the game.
Yeah.
You ignored attack and everything, and the more stars your card has, the better it was.
Well, when I was younger, I didn't really used to play the game, to be honest. I used to buy cards and think, this card looks cool. I'll have that. Yeah. And I used to have fake cards. I used to have like this Exodia card with had some weird shiny tint to it that wasn't actually real. It was like a fake card that I picked up from a car boot, and I thought, yo, look how powerful this is. And it's like, well, you can't actually legally play it because it's fake.
And as I got older, I kind of was like, Yu-Gi-Oh's not actually that good. I don't even know how to play it. I mean, I always thought that the cards looked cool, but I just gave up. And over time, they were just introducing more and more bullshit to it, like synchro summoning. Like, synchro summoning, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know the point of it.
Which, by the way, is the best type of card you can get, in my opinion. A nice little synchro. Get a nice little synchro going, and you've got yourself a fucking juicy deck, man.
Easily, probably the best way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! In the current
in my opinion, and Jacob's, you know, some people prefer like Xyz and Link, which is fairs, but you know, I think Synchro is just like, it's just fluid as fuck.
Needless to say, I shelved Yu-Gi-Oh! Right, shelved it completely. So then I started playing a few casual games against my friend after a few years, right? And I'd use like what I would call a scrap deck, which is just a bunch of cards that don't necessarily fit together, all cobbled together and piled into like a deck.
Yeah, just whatever cards you have laying around, you stick them all in.
And meanwhile, my friend was running a Red Dragon Archfiend deck at the time, and I swear to God, this is where I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh properly.
You kind of had to, otherwise it'd just be a beating, man. Like, you can't go in against Red Dragon Archfiend with a little scrappy fucking random cards all piled into one deck fucking type of deck. There's no chance.
This deck beat the ever-loving shit out of me, because Red Dragon Archfiend has got a lovely effect. It's a synchro monster, and it can pretty much field wipe as soon as it's synchro summoned.
Well, that's
and just
Scarlight.
leave you wide open.
That's Scarlight Red Dragon, yeah.
That's like the principle of it is to field wipe and leave the board open for heavy attacks. See assist, bye, cancelled.
Yeah, exactly. And then you just left there, just like, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
Exactly, yeah, because to me this deck seemed unbeatable, right? So, a couple of years go past, I start building a new deck, a Junk Synchron deck, and I actually get okay with it, but I don't understand the rules. I kind of play here and there, and then one day, what do you know, when me and Mason are friends, Mason says, oh yeah, well, do you play Yu-Gi-Oh? At this point, my ears perk up, and we started playing Yu-Gi-Oh!
So,
like, seriously.
So let's just, the way I came about Yu-Gi-Oh, because obviously I then started wanting to play it more. I watched the anime a few times. I didn't religiously watch it. Just whenever it was on, I'd stick it on and be like, yo, there's some cool dragons and shit. And Duel Links, I used to play a lot of Duel Links on my phone and shit. And I used to love it. But I thought, it'd be so much better if I had like actual copies of each card in my hand, rather than playing online, because it doesn't really mean anything then, really. In my opinion, I'd rather have it in my hands and me physically placing down each card. So I just thought, fuck it, I want to start playing. And at the time, me and Jacob had just started chatting, playing Minecraft and shit. And I was like, by any chance, do you play Yu-Gi-Oh? And he was like, fucking yes, I play Yu-Gi-Oh. Of course I do. And then ever since then, we've fucking been on it, man. We've been on that shit.
I think it's been a solid few month bender of just buying decks religiously, adding cards, and just building some of the most competitive decks that we could.
Yeah. Go on.
Maybe 2 into this game at this point.
Definitely. Oh yeah, this is why I'm having a break. Not a long one, just a little 2-week break until my birthday, and then I'm gonna buy cards with my birthday money, because otherwise I'm gonna be pissing away a load of money. I have 5 decks, right? Say for instance I spent £40 on each deck, which I haven't. I've spent more. That's £200. 200 quid.
Yeah.
Plus, not even including the deck boxes and the card sleeves. Like, they cost another about £6 or £7 for each deck. So you're looking there about 30 quid. It's a lot of money, but God, I love it. It's so fun.
I think this is now a good time to touch on my first experience buying a Yu-Gi-Oh deck.
Ooh.
Properly. Okay,
your Junk Synchro?
Yeah, exactly right. So this is back when I still didn't really know shit about decks, prices, and stuff like that. So I wanted something that I knew vaguely, and I knew the Junk Synchrons because I played a little bit of Junk Synchron when it was first introduced.
Yeah.
And I went online and I looked at the first deck I could see, and I was like, oh, that's got lots of monsters in it. £89.
Oh yeah.
So I buy this deck thinking it's gonna be shit hot, really fucking awesome, gonna mess up your day kind of deck, right? And it gets absolutely clapped by every deck it goes up against. Not only that, it struggles bringing out any big monsters. It's completely inefficient in everything it does, and I just pissed away this much money on it. I felt like an idiot.
And the thing is, with Junk Synchro, the whole idea is to bring out like the Synchro monsters, isn't it?
Yeah.
But even then, the Synchro monsters are a bit shit.
Yeah.
They're not that great. Are they?
And this is when I learned one of the most important lessons when you're playing the game, right? Things go out of fashion.
Yeah.
Like, things lose power. Like, your decks lose power, right? Yeah. As cards are getting introduced. So, you know, this deck was getting clapped by the latest decks of the time. And I didn't know why. I thought this was a powerful deck. And it was. Maybe about 6 years ago.
Yeah, for its time. It's kind of like Blue Eyes, though, isn't it? It's like when Blue Eyes, you know, when the trading card game first came out, it was like Blue Eyes was like the biggest cunt, right?
Yeah.
If Blue Eyes was out, that was pretty much game, really.
Yeah, more or less.
But nowadays, you know, you bring out a Blue Eyes and it's like, oh, so fucking what? I'll just take it out with a card effect. Or even by battle, because 3000 is pretty common for a boss monster now, whereas back in the day, back in the day, like that was the only boss monster that had 3000 base attack. But now you've got cards that come out with 3000 and that can boost their own attack based on certain, like, you know, situations. So Blue Eyes is just shit now. Well, that standard Blue Eyes card is shit now.
That transitions really nicely into another gripe that I have about the game. Konami suffers a lot, the card company that makes Yu-Gi-Oh! It suffers a lot from favoritism.
Oh, you're telling me, yeah.
What do I mean about that? Well, you see, sometimes Konami will get an idea for a deck, and he'll make this deck, and make this, like, we call them archetypes, right? He'll make an archetype of card, and people will get really invested in it. And then, somewhere along the way, Konami will just go, yeah, well, we're not really into that anymore, so we're not going to bring out any new cards for it. Yeah, and they essentially leave a whole set of cards, like a whole deck, to die because they don't support it.
Whilst also bringing out new cards for really old decks. So, like Dark Magician and Blue Eyes, they were the first monsters, right, to come out in Yu-Gi-Oh! Ever.
The first boss monsters,
yes, the first boss monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I don't know how, what was it, like 20 years ago?
Yeah, something like that.
Ages ago.
20 odd.
They are still getting new cards brought out today. But there is newer archetypes that have come out like a few years prior to this, right? And
that are just left.
And they just left them in the dust. One archetype in particular that I can think of, that I have now, is the cubic, right? They have no support. They have a few spells and traps and a few monsters, and it almost seems like they've just left them there. And don't get me wrong, cubic are really fucking good. They are very powerful, but you'd think that with an archetype so good and so interesting, they'd want to expand on what cards they bring out for it. Not just stick, oh, what's that? Blue Eyes? Yeah, we'll make more cards for that. The thing is, though, no one really plays Blue Eyes. No one really plays them competitively.
No. Some of the most competitive decks out there now are decks that you've probably never heard of and never seen in any kind of like capacity in the anime. But yeah, I mean, it's safe to say if you've got a Blue Eyes deck, a Dark Magician deck, a Cyber Dragon deck, you are always going to see new cards coming out for that, because the dictators at Konami have got a raging hard-on for these cards for some reason.
Definitely.
And they constantly want those cards to be in circulation. They constantly want them to be printed. Yeah. So that sucks. You know, it's kind of a bad time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is a shame, especially when, you know, you got interesting archetypes. Like the first deck that I ever bought was a Dragunity deck, right? I love it. I fucking love Dragunity. I'm currently in the process of doing like a makeover for it, which I'm going to buy some cards on my birthday. Exciting times. There's not that much support for Dragunity. They've got a few spells and traps. They've brought out a new spell card in the OCG that is not that great, really. It's okay. It's pretty shit. You know, they don't have a lot of support going, but the archetype's cool. So
yeah, for sure.
You'd think that they'd put the same amount of, you know, if they're going to go through all the effort to make an archetype, come up with all the artwork, all the card effects, all this, and that. You think, well, we put this much effort in, so why not just support it a little bit,
Yeah, I mean, I think this kind of goes into like another thing that I've been talking about, what Konami puts on the ban list. It feels kind of broken sometimes, what they put on the ban list and what they don't. What do I mean by that? Well, there's certain cards that are completely overpowered and should be on the ban list, like Pot of Greed is on there, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, Pot of Greed. Pot of Greed is on the ban list, yeah.
Yeah, but then there'll also be other cards that aren't even limited on the ban list, like one of Mason's favourite cards, Crystal Wing Synchron Dragon.
Hey, Crystal Wing Synchro! Yeah, man, I love this card.
Right.
Yeah.
I wanna talk about this card, right?
Hey, you fucking run it too. Don't start
card,
with this.
Right, full disclosure, I run one copy of it, right? But Mason's new addition to his Dragoonity deck, he's going to add another one into it because he can, right? So this absolute
broken boss monster, yeah.
Right, this card was created by a masochist, a complete masochist that has nothing but hate and pain in his heart, right?
Right.
He's created for the sole purpose to irritate people that play this game and to make them want to just quit entirely. If this card gets out on the field, it can negate any kind of monster effect, and if it does, destroy it. And if it does that,
gains the attack.
Gains the attack.
But not only that, also, if this Crystal Wing, right, goes to battle one of my, say if I'm dueling Jacob and he's got a monster out that is level 5 or higher, it then gains the attack of that monster. So no matter which monster I go up against, it's gonna destroy it.
It's retarded.
Either with card effect or battle. Yeah.
And I'm not joking, it is one of the easiest monsters to get out.
If you have a deck built around.
If you've got a deck that complements it, it is one of the easiest monsters to bring out.
Which Dragoonity is. Yeah.
But yeah, that's completely fine to have as many as you want. Have 3 of them if you want. 3 of them in one deck, you can do it. But this deck is inconsistent, like some of the stuff that is in Yu-Gi-Oh and isn't in Yu-Gi-Oh. I
think the blind list is just. I find it mad sometimes. Like we were having a chat the other day. It's like they bring out a new card. Yeah, it's so powerful, but they don't actually think.
Yeah.
And it's like, let's make this really powerful card, and then when it shows that it's really powerful, they go, oh no, that's too powerful, let's ban it. It's like, what's the point in making it then? Like, do they not think of different combinations? I think you said, like, do they even play their own card game, or do they just make cards for it and then release it?
It's like a fairly innocent looking card that was introduced into BLACKWING called Steam the Cloak. Little piddly nothing of a monster, right? But its effect essentially allowed people to bulk summon synchro monsters. So they'd be going through the game and they could run like 2 or 3 copies of Steam the Cloak, and they'd end up with like a field full of Blackwing Armor Masters, which is the boss monster of the Blackwing deck.
Yeah.
And I'd end up having 3 on the field in like 1 turn thanks to this combo. And it's like, why would you make a card like that?
It's like they don't think. It's like, obviously it's gonna be built. That card's gonna be played in a Blackwing deck. And what is Blackwing? What is the main purpose of a Blackwing deck? It's to bring out synchro monsters. Yeah. It's to bring out synchros. So why bring out a fucking broken card if all you're gonna do is ban it? What is the point? Like, think before you release, man. God damn.
I think we're at a stage now, in our own personal kind of like little dueling circle that we got going, where we've just built some of the most competitive decks we possibly can. I mean, at the minute, I think that the rivalry we got going between ourselves is Cubic Time Lords versus Adamanticators.
We got Blackwing versus my Odd Eyes Pendulum deck, which I'm gonna rework a little bit. And then we've got Karibo versus Necros.
Yeah. By the way,
it sounds weird. It sounds weird even fucking saying that. Karibo's got a rivalry.
Yeah. Mason was looking for a new deck. He was like, "Oh, I really want to buy a new deck," and I just said, "Why don't you build a Karibo deck?" And he laughed at me, thinking I was being sarcastic. I was like, "Deadpan meant it. I meant, hey, Karibo are good if you know what to do with them."
And then I built.
And he was like, And you're like, what? Karibo are good? And he built a whole deck based off of them, and now everybody regrets me telling him that because it's actually so panicky to play against.
Yeah, I have these Xyz card called number 13 and number 31. If you want to read the card effect, you can pause and you can. But anyone that knows these cards knows when these come out, there's no fucking about, alright? There's no pissing around with it. You're gonna have a bad time. Yeah, I'm gonna force you to come at these guys and you're gonna take all the damage. That's all I'm gonna say. And every time I bring those two out, Jacob and Morgan, who is like the dueling group, they all just go off. What is the fucking point? So if they have two monsters out, right, and then they think, oh well, I'm going to bring out some more monsters, they're just doing themselves damage.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's really fun for me to just see them suffer and hate me. Another thing that I love, another thing that I love about our duels personally is all the trash talk that like we give each other. It's so fucking funny. Like we just trash talk. I mean we are such man children, right? It's like the kind of trash talk that you see at like the press conferences for like UFC. You know what I mean? But like we just sat around a table playing Yu-Gi-Oh. It's quite sad, really.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty sad, but you know, it's a thing that we do. You know,
it's part of the game.
All right, and I want to touch upon like one of the most important misconceptions, right, that people make when they get into this game.
Yeah.
The anime often lies about what cards are good,
and also what cards can do.
Yeah, like if you're gonna get into Yu-Gi-Oh, don't watch the anime for like your reference of playing the game because it's just completely made up.
Go on YouTube. Go on YouTube and look up like YouTubers that focus solely on Yu-Gi-Oh. That's how because we still learn rules sometimes. Yeah. Like sometimes we're like, we'll play one day and then I'll come back like the next day and I'll say, oh shit, we did this wrong. So we're not like we're not like professional Yu-Gi-Oh players. We still play the game wrong sometimes. That just proves how simple the anime makes it look. It's not. It's complicated. You have to learn every single rule, and we're still learning rules. And the
worst part is the game changes constantly. So.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah.
A card that you have now might be banned in a month's time.
Yeah,
you just don't know.
Yeah, and also they might change the rules because they changed the rules on April 1st, and it changed the game completely. So then you've got to then work around that. And then, and then if they change the rules next month, you then have to just accept it and work around that. It's I mean, it's still really fun, but it's just I don't see why they have to keep changing the rules of the game. Just keep
you can literally spend about £40 on a card that is really good, only for it to be banned.
Yeah,
and made redundant in any official capacity.
Oh yeah, because some cards go for a lot of money, man. Like you was looking at a card for your Emancipator deck, and it's not.
We'll put it up on the screen.
Yeah, it's kind of the same as the Researcher, except from it works in all rock type decks.
It's the Emancipator Researcher card, but the Seeker card does the same thing as it.
Yeah, and it's just. But for the price tag, you'd think it'd do something silly. It goes for like 50 quid. But for the sake of it just being a generic rock monster that you can use in any rock deck. But no one really plays rock except from Emancipator because it's not that good.
Yeah. But then Emancipator comes out and is probably one of the most competitive decks that exists at the moment.
Yeah, it's really
in the current meta.
It's really fun to duel against. I really enjoy it. Yeah, it's great.
You can hear the bitterness in his voice. I love it. I don't know. I think that there are some negatives to this game, but if you're going to get into it, you know, it pays to have a friend that you're going to get into it as well. Because we've had some pretty fun nights playing this game, but at the same time, there are some broken issues with it, like the price of cards.
Yeah, some of them are silly.
Oh my god. I've been trying to get some Link monsters lately, and it's like 20 quid for one card that I need. And it's like, you look at the price of it, and it's like, it'll make my deck better, but it's also going to just literally chew up my wallet.
Yeah,
you know?
And it's like, if you're not going to enter a tournament or anything, you don't really need it to be super fucking OP. So the whole paying 20 quid for one single card, and it might be a card that you need multiple copies of. You know, because some decks you need 3 of each card in, and if they go for 20 quid a pop, that's 60 quid just for 3 cards. Then you've got to build the rest of the deck, and it can get very, very costly. So just if you are wanting to get into it, just be careful that you don't get like ripped off or anything.
Yeah, do like shit tons of research, because that's definitely not what I did when I got into it.
Oh no, you jumped Synchron, yeah. But
yeah.
Thankfully, when I got, because you're the one that recommended me to get Unity to start off with. And
I'm the one that recommended to get most of your decks, mate.
No, you was Unity and Karibo. The other 3 are all me, sis. Everyone hates Jacob now for showing the Unity because it's infamous in our circle as being a really, really good deck. Because I can bring out Crystal Wing in 1 turn, and I'm adding in some silly cards to make it even more broken, and it's really fun. But I was kind of thankful that I had you there, because at that point when I said, right, I want to play Yu-Gi-Oh!, you kind of had an idea. And you advised me which were good and which were bad. But if I didn't have you there, I'd have probably just fucking, I don't know, gone Blue Eyes or something.
You were running a Blue Eyes starter deck, which is a fine deck. It's a fine deck. It's just not like competitive by itself, but yeah. So the long and short of it is like playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Regularly, properly, with all these rules. It's like being in a relationship with a fickle college girl. You know, it's just, you never really know what she wants, and then at a moment's notice she changes her mind about how things are going to go forward, about the future and stuff like that, and then it's all over in the blink of an eye. And everything you've spent your money on is just worthless because the rules have changed now.
And they update the ban list like every few months or something. I think it's like every 2 months, every 3 months. So you never really, like, I had 2 cards in my Pendulum deck that recently got banned. So I had to take them out, which is kind of annoying, but, you know, it's just how the game goes, isn't it?
And it can literally fuck up your entire deck and the way you play.
Yeah, I mean, luckily they weren't that important, but, you know, they're very helpful to have. It kind of slowed down. I mean, it slowed down the deck, but, you know, it's just kind of like, well, I've just spent money on these cards, and now I can't really, you know. I guess you can say, well, you know, you're not entering any like tournaments, so why not just use them anyway? But that's not really the point. If we're with us, if we're playing the game, we want to play properly, and we're not just going to use banned cards, because if that was the case, Pot agreed, yeah, let's run 3. Raigeki, sure, let's run 3 of them, you know, and then you'd be unstoppable.
Yeah, it'd just be a shit show, just a shit fest of like broken cards being activated every turn.
Yeah.
But we know this video's like not what we usually do, but I don't know. I think if you stick at doing the same thing, it gets to be a chore, and if it gets to be a chore, it kind of, you lose the passion, you know.
Yeah.
But we'll be doing like videos like this semi-regularly, like just videos where we're just talking about shit that we do, like our Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff like that. But
or just like shit that interests us, like if something that happens that interests us. Let's go top 3 favorite cards that you own.
Okay, so this is probably going to be my most broken cards. Crystal Dragite is probably my favorite one at the minute because of its broken fucking effect. With my Adamantipator deck, I can shuffle cards from your field into your deck or hand based on how many rock monsters I can excavate, and that's my entire deck.
Yeah, it's nice. It's really fun to play against.
My other deck, my other card is Chidori. Gains 300 attack. 300 attack for every Blackwing in my graveyard in my Blackwing deck. And yeah, my entire deck is Blackwings, so there's usually a lot of cards in there. And I think my third favourite is probably Armor Master because it's bulletproof by pretty much anything.
No, I'm guessing you mean full armor.
Yeah, full Armor Master because he's unaffected by card effects, and I can take control of people's monsters with him.
Yeah. It's really with that card you got to beat over him. So it's kind of horrible. So mine, I bet you can guess my first one, man.
Go on.
Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon.
Fuck off.
Activated card effect. No, you don't. Bye bye. It's just fucking great, and with Dragoon you can get it out so easily, and and the card art looks cool. It's got a cool name, and the card I have is shiny, and it's fucking sexy as. Right. My next favorite card, it's 2, but it's basically 1 because one of them without the other is useless. Number 13 and number 31, the Xyz cards, they are fucking stupid. How broken they are. I can force you to come at me and then you take all the damage. It's so good. It's broken. I love it. And probably my other favorite one is Crimson Nova, the Cubic Time Lord, because cool fucking name, cool fucking artwork. It's unaffected by any monster whose original attack is 3,000 or less, which is great against Adamantipator because Jacob brings out that fucking Dragite cunt, tries to shuffle him back into the hand, and it's like, no you're not, sister, it's staying out. And also, during my end phase, which is basically when I say I've ended my turn, we both take 3,000 damage, which is a lot of damage. And also, if you get 3 of them on the field or in your hand, you can bring out the crazy fusion version, which is just, if you bring out that, it's game over. There's no way.
Pretty much.
Which is very nice. And, God, I love this game.
It's official, guys. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is more addictive than crack. Never get into it. Don't ever play Yu-Gi-Oh! And don't buy any cards. And I think that's all we need to say about it, really.
But saying that, it's really fun, and you should definitely play it. and suppose someone's watching this that plays Yu-Gi-Oh! Who the fuck knows what'll happen with this video if it even, does the rounds or whatever. Just comment, let us know what type of deck you run. If you're still here now watching, let us know what type of deck you run, all that good stuff. Tell us your favourite cards. All that good shit, because I'd like to have a little chat and get some more Yu-Gi-Oh friends, because no one plays Yu-Gi-Oh around here.
Pretty much, yeah.
There's me, you, and Morgan, and Jason, but that's it. There is 4 people in Morecambe who play Yu-Gi-Oh, because there's no local tournaments ever. There's nothing. So it's cash. So, if you like this video, this little different sit-down chat that we're going to do a lot more of, because I quite enjoyed it. It kind of takes the pressure off, having to have a coherent
seriously
thought.
edit.
Yeah, but not only that, but when we were reviewing a movie, we have to really have a coherent kind of timeline. Right, so this happens and then this happens and then we need to talk about this.
Yeah.
And then we need to talk about this.
Pretty much.
It's just nice to just sit back, relax, chat about shit, and we can chat about loads of stuff. Yeah, that's it really. Instagram, link in the bio. That's it, boys. Like, subscribe. See you in the next upload. Goodbye.
See ya.